big shout out to you for making it through the hectic holiday season. This new year, get clean, quality, pregnancy nutrient support off your to-do list, including Ritual's best-selling Essential Prenatal Multivitamin, designed with 12 traceable key ingredients to support a healthy pregnancy. With big changes coming up, take the small steps now and start today with 30% off a 3-month supply at ritual.com/podcast. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
The best late-night conservative talk show in America, Sackheads Radio, in the air to give you the best in conservative talk, the Sackhead Sean and Sackhead Clint. And we're working on immigration papers for a certain other guy who happens to work here, too. For those who are tuning in around the world to the best in late-night conservative talk, Sackheads Radio.
Hark, 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 dude. Hark, 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 dude.
Radio.
Hark, 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 dude. Hark, 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 dude.
Radio.
Sack. 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 Sack.
The best late-night conservative talk show in America. In America.
In America.
Into the silo.
And in this web was a large, I'm pretty sure it was the biggest spider I've ever seen.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Sackheads Radio Show live on the SHR Media Network. Hold on, showing a little bit of cleavage. Let me clean that right up. Oof.
Don't be wicked, sir.
I was trying to get a loan. You know, in this day and age,
I know you really do have to cover up. I think you'd look really good in a shawl.
I do need a shawl, but like a thick woolen one that covers my head, my face, and my body. I definitely need that.
Oh, you want a beekeeper's uniform then?
That would be ideal,
One each.
really. Can you blame? I think that would be excellent. It is Thanksgiving Eve 2017. Thank you so much for joining us on SHR Media.
And though it's Thanksgiving Eve, we are going to talk turkey.
We are going to talk some turkey.
About politics.
We are. We're going to talk
It's
turkey.
what we do.
We just do it pretty damn well, too, I might add. If you're in the chat room, shrmedia.com. Click on live chat. Listen live and live chat all at once, and the chat room's right there.
I was hoodling down Highway 99 today.
Hoodling down Highway 99.
In my Kraut car. And then I thought, hey, wouldn't that be a good time to make a promo for the Sackhead show tonight?
Well, why not?
So I see all these videos on Facebook and Twitter and whatnot, and all these people are talking about shit.
Yeah.
And they're driving the car. So I thought, well, if they can do it, why can't I do it?
Anything you can do, I can do better.
The other problem with that is that when
I can do anything better than you
get to the house and I have a video, it takes about 10.5 years for that thing to upload.
Well, you're way out in the sticks.
Well, no, this is actually from Sacramento.
Oh.
From down in Ghetto Central where the wife is. So, and even then, the little bars on the phone.
Not so much.
No bueno.
I'll tell you right now, it's very bizarre how that works, because there's some buildings I go into and I have amazing reception. Other like buildings 2 blocks away. Horrific.
I can't figure the crap out.
And I'm
For
like,
example,
did you line this with lead? Like, what the happened when they were building this?
That's right. Yeah, you didn't know it, but you're in a skiff.
Yeah.
So it ends out being that way. But the weird thing is, I mean, everything is so, in terms of technology, things are so spotty. Bombast, who we have.
Bombast.
Is not so good. And then I compare my internet at the cabin. I'm at the 4,000-foot level in the Sierra Nevada mountains, 90 miles away from here. But I compare my internet through, who the hell AT&T, to the internet that she has. And she is in Population Central.
Yes.
Okay. It's like, this should be the finest damn internet ever. My internet is better.
That's insane. That is absolutely insane.
How does that happen?
And it's amazing to me.
Does it mean that the western redback squirrels are faster up there than they are down here? Is that what it means?
Well, I can tell you, I can remember years ago moving into a place, and I had Comcast. Yeah, it was Comcast at the time. Comcast came out, and they were setting up my internet. And this is probably 11 years ago now, maybe even longer. Comcast came out, set up my internet, and the guy goes, he came in, set everything up, and tested it, and he goes, "Oh, I got to put a reducer on your line." I said,
What? Whoa, no.
And this
Did you
is
start
before-
screaming?
This is before they tiered out the speeds. This was just kind of everything was one speed. They weren't really tiering it yet. At least in that area, they hadn't. And I said, well, what do you mean? He's like, well, you're at a junction between the main line that goes across the city and your house. Like, you tap off the main line that runs across the city, and if I allowed you to plug your modem in right now, it would blow your modem out. He's like, legitimately blow your modem out. I said, really? He's like, the amount, yeah. So he went out and he had to put 2 separate reducers, because the modem I think I had at the time was a 100 MIP modem. He had to put 2 separate reducers, and I was still getting 99 MIPs downloading. It was crazy. I've never had internet that fast in my life.
Holy crap.
Yeah, it was pretty substantial.
Wait. Before we even go any further, this just in. This, to me, this is a first. Now, when I tell you this, I don't know if you're going to say it's a first, but it's the first I've seen.
Okay.
I'm in chat. Mm-hmm. Okay, there's Dan Butcher as HP Pundit. There's
Yes,
Mike.
El Duce.
Welcome to Mike. And there's one viewer, and there's Jeff Dunnitz.
What? Jeffrey Dunnitz?
And he's talking in chat. So hello to Jeff Dunnitz. Welcome.
I thought I could hear him talking.
It's great to see you in chat.
He's up late. Is he okay?
It's like it's 11. Jeff, I question your sanity. It's 11:09.
I questioned it before he showed up tonight.
And now.
I love Jeff.
I do too. Jeff is a kick-ass great guy.
And
he's on the SHR Media Network.
He is on the SHR Media
Every
Network.
Wednesday.
Every Wednesday live. Lid Blog is just amazing. If you don't subscribe and or read his website, you need to. It's absolutely great. It's funny. It's in-depth. He has a wide range in which he can write comedic... So he writes some incredibly in-depth and strong articles about politics and news and world events.
Politics, the people that he's interviewed
is amazing.
Kurt Schlichter, any number of East Coast politicians.
Yep.
I mean, Jeff knows
a
lot of folks.
He knows them all. But the thing that always gets me with Jeff is his comedic side.
Oh, Jeff is funny as fuck.
My God.
Here's look at this. This is a visual. Yeah. Oh, by the way, if you want the visual, folks, you can go to the SHR Media page or channel, I should say, on YouTube and watch us live right now. Or you can go to the SHR Media Facebook page.
Yep, and we're live.
And we're live right now.
Yes,
so
yes,
my
we
comparison is, because it's a visual, is this is fuck and this is Jeff, and Jeff is funnier.
Hey there. Ritual here to give a big shout out to you for making it through the hectic holiday season. The magic of those family moments, that was you. And now there's new milestones to prep for in 2025. This new year, check clean, quality, pregnancy nutrient support off your to-do list with Ritual. We've done the research to create science-backed pregnancy support like our prenatal multivitamin, natal choline, and fertility support, all designed to be taken alongside each other. But don't just take our word for it. They're also third-party tested for microbes and heavy metals and Clean Label Project certified. So whether you're trying, thinking about trying, or already there, we don't have to tell you that prioritizing yourself can be the hardest part. That's why we're helping you get started today with 30% off a 3-month supply for a limited time at ritual.com/podcast. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
So I'm merely stating the truth.
He is pretty goddamn funny, and I appreciate having him in chat room tonight. It's nice to see him show up.
And he says he wanted to tell everybody to have a blessed Thanksgiving.
And we wish the same. And obviously,
what a nice guy, Jeff.
Everyone
thank
needs
you.
to have a blessed Thanksgiving. And you know what I love about Jeff is every holiday,
everything.
Well, and I hope he doesn't get mad at me for outing him. Every holiday, I always get a personal message, not just like a group like, hey, everybody, but I get a personal message from Jeff wishing me well for that holiday. And to me, it's just always really nice. It means a lot. He is just, he's really a sweet and amazing guy, and very talented, very funny. We're really, really, really lucky to have him on board here. On the other hand,
Well, he's a prolific writer.
Yes.
He knows everybody in politics. He knows everybody in D.C.
yes. And then on the other hand, you have the second best newsman of the business, Dan Butcher. So, you know.
Who is in chat right now? And also, Dan, I know you're listening.
He's starting on me already.
We spoke last night. Dan devoted 2 hours again to the show last night.
He doesn't have anything to do.
And-
That's why.
He's hanging around.
He's got nothing.
He's hanging around the corner.
Well, what you don't realize happens is Mrs. Butcher sticks him into the office when she can't have enough, when she's just done with him, right? And eventually, like, that's all he can do is call in and talk to you because he's not allowed to do anything else.
The funny you should say that
He
about
gets hurt when he does.
funny you should say that about The Office, because when I talked to Dan, and this is a little insight, Dan, by the way, I can hear your office chair squeak. And especially last night, I did everything I could to make sure I was a good boy. I didn't laugh. I wanted to. I almost did on a couple of occasions, but I thought, nope, don't do it. Jeff Dunnett says, with all the things that we're saying about him, he says, you're embarrassing me.
Oh, come on, Jeff. If you really want me to embarrass you, I can go a lot
And then
further.
Mike says, Spreaker doesn't appear to be working.
Oh, let me check Spreaker. Nope. I am showing that we have fully rock and roll activated. Hell yeah.
Well, as a matter of fact, yep, there we are at the top because I just refreshed the page. If you want to listen to us on Spreaker, folks, go to shrmedia.com, click live chat, or you can click on air on the face page, and then you'll come to the chat room page, and up at the top, there's this long kind of wavy-looking kind of thing with a yellow triangle.
It should auto start.
And just, if it doesn't auto start, hit that yellow triangle, and boom, you're playing the show.
I want to just circle back to Danny Butcher really quick because I joke about Danny.
We should always circle back to Dan Butcher.
I joke about Danny all the time, but anyone who has listened to the show knows that my friendship with Dan goes deep and far. And I've spent some time personally with the man and his beautiful wife, and I love them both dearly. Dan Butcher is one of those guys, and we talk business quite a bit when we talk, but he goes out of his way to call me or text me and message me, not at all business related, just to say hi.
What a nice guy.
When you work with somebody on a regular basis, I think that means a lot. He's always checking on me. He's always making sure I'm doing all right. And I know he's like that with everybody. But I just, for all the ball busting I do for Danny Butcher, which he deserves, by the way, which he deserves.
Excuse me.
You okay?
Yeah, all right. You said everybody. Excuse me.
Oh, he doesn't do it to you? Huh. Funny.
Oh, Dave Milner. Welcome to Dave Milner in chat. Dave, you're in
Agador's
chat.
Chat room. Thank you so much for joining us, Agador. Very happy Thanksgiving Eve to you.
I'm back. I'm still back at Jeff Dunnett's being in chat.
You really stuck on this.
Especially when it's like, I was talking about Hugh Hewitt. Hugh Hewitt left the West Coast last year and moved over to the D.C. area so he could get, better interviews, blah, blah, blah. Well, he's on at 3 damn o'clock in the morning.
Right.
So my listening to Hugh Hewitt live, that crap's gone.
Right.
So in his place now, I listen to Larry Elder, who actually, don't tell anybody, but I actually like Larry Elder better.
Better than you.
I do, Hugh Hewitt. But anyway, having said that, I'm not getting up at 3 o'clock, so I thank Jeff for staying up so late. It's 11:15 on the right coast, so Jeff, I appreciate it very much. Oh, here's another weird thing. This is weird. I'm not quite sure the dynamics of it. I don't know if we're ready to go into politics just yet.
Okay.
But Hugh Hewitt happened to get the first ever conservative interview today with Hillary Clinton.
Wow.
Before today, she has never gone on one, even kind of sort of, maybe kind of conservative radio show ever. And went on Hugh Hewitt. Now, I have not listened to it, but that's later on we're going to talk about Hillary's kvetching about stuff. But she revealed to Hugh today something which was kind of interesting that we'll talk about later. But when I heard that, I thought, has my world stopped turning on its axis when Hillary Clinton gives an interview to Hugh Hewitt, a conservative kind of guy. White Mamba just stepped into chat. Mamba, good to see you.
Here's we talked a little bit about this, and here's why, in my opinion, she has to. She's in so much damage control now.
When we get into the Bill and Hill show later on.
It's pretty. So that's why
OMG.
she's doing that, and it's just absolutely horrific. That it shows you where we are in these times, because she's like, shit, I got to go into the devil's den, so to speak, in her opinion.
Can you imagine
and give an interview?
The enamel that must have come off her teeth to do that, or the deal with the devil that Hugh Hewitt made in order to get her on the show. Because even now, though, he's going to get a bump from putting her on the show, and already Fox is talking about it, and that's the deal. If you're in radio, to get people talking about it,
it's a major deal, man. It is such a major deal because she does nothing when it comes to conservatism because she's petrified of it. But I digress because we have other things we have to talk to. We're past general jackassery.
God, where do we start? There's so much stuff.
Where do we start? Let's start with the simple one. Trump came out 2 days ago now and put a order essentially cutting funds to sanctuary cities. We all saw it coming. We're glad it came because it needed to come. And then along comes this judge, a Judge Orrick, who was appointed in 2013 by
Doesn't he make vacuum cleaners?
He makes shitty ones too, apparently.
Yeah.
Which is weird because he sucks so bad you would think he'd be better at it. Thank you very much.
Rim shot.
Thank you very much. So anyhow, Judge Orrick out of the San Francisco 9th Circuit Court. Shocking. Put a block in place on the order from the president. Orrick was appointed in 2013 by one President Barack Obama after raising over $200,000 in money for one President Barack Obama. But he didn't buy his.
No. Listen, we have to understand, why don't the conservatives and libertarians understand that these two items, there's no linkage whatsoever, and they are completely mutually exclusive.
Right.
That's a theme of leftists, Democrats, and the American media maggots is ne'er the two shall meet, ever. And, by the way, Jeff left.
Oh, hey, bye. Good night, Jeff.
Because he had to go Betty bye, of course.
Late.
And then Dave in chat apologizes because Mary Brockman had to get sleep in preparation for Thanksgiving tomorrow. So
totally understand.
She's not here tonight.
Totally understand. We love Mary. We miss Mary. But totally understand it. So, look, at the end of the day, Obama has appointed this douche judge. He is a typical liberal. He's out of the San Francisco 9th. He is exactly as you expect him to be. And he blocked an order that I believe was completely legal. So,
well, it's not temporary. It's a permanent injunction.
Yes.
Which basically says, see, this one and the one about sanctuary, this about sanctuary cities and the other issue with regard to Trump's travel stay, these two bad boys are going straight to the Supreme Court.
Yes.
Guaranteed. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. This stuff is going to the Supreme Court. And we have, by the way, White Mamba in chat. So, White Mamba, the things that I just said, what do you think? Tell us in chat, because we'll keep talking in the meantime. But when Orrick did this, he as much as guaranteed that this crap is going, and it should go straight up to SCOTUS. Now, I was talking. I want your thoughts on this, your opinion.
Very good.
I was talking with Dan last night. One of the things we're talking about is I said that without a doubt, installing Neil Gorsuch has kept SCOTUS on at least a level playing field. It's kind of sort of 5-4 Kennedy-ish, depending on.
Yes. Absolutely.
I firmly believe that Trump is going to get at least one more vacancy.
At least one more.
And I submit that he may even get 2 more. Now, the next one, whatever that is, there's going to be like the fight from hell. Mm-hmm. Because the Democrats cannot afford politically to let that happen.
Right.
But, now, see, again, that depends on if we hold the Senate. So stop just for a second. Does everyone not understand exactly why the Democrats are not insisting that Al Franken go any damn where? Some other people are calling, Al Franken needs to. Al Franken isn't going nowhere, no matter who calls for what. Because you have to think long term, something the GOP doesn't have the ability to do.
No, they really suck at that lately.
So if we fight for this, if we fight for the second one and we win, in my opinion, that kind of guarantees SCOTUS for the next 15 years, 20 years. Mm-hmm. If before 2020 there happens to be a third, you can count the court being turned for 2 generations.
Yeah.
Damn near.
Yeah. And honestly, I hate to say it, but I don't hate to say it. I'm glad that would be the case, and that could very well have saved the fabric of this nation.
Especially if, depending on who you get, because I don't know the short list, if you get, like Neil Gorsuch is a relatively young man in his 50s.
Yeah, as far as SCOTUSes go.
Yeah, and if you get somebody or a couple of somebodies
a couple of someones
in their 40s.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, you could own it for a long time.
It's just... It all depends.
And look,
because eventually, like I said yesterday, you own education and SCOTUS, you own this country. Leftists have education. We got to try to get that back. We're failing.
Right.
And then we've got to keep SCOTUS.
I agree.
There has to be some kind of equilibrium here.
But it offsets having SCOTUS, and if you can get education, offsets the ridiculous power plays that they've made in the past, the going nuclear. It really helps protect. I mean, they can still pull all that shit, but it will help protect it long term. Look, the education, if you get education proper in this country, then the kids now, these millennials, these easily led automatons that the Democrats own, and even after it was proven that Bernie got screwed, all of his supporters still voted Democrat for the most part. A good amount of them did. You get that out of the way because now you're going to start teaching people to think on their own and be educated, be seriously educated. And I think that's something that'll make a difference. And obviously, having SCOTUS being on the side of the Constitution is enormous.
The good and the bad part of it is, I think if there's one thing that you and I will agree on, and perhaps everybody in chat and folks listening live.
I think we agree on more than one thing
in the podcast, but I think that you and I can both agree is that the Democrats are not in the slightest going to go for any form of bipartisanship or compromise.
No.
They're on a left course, hard a port, and
yeah.
if anything, all they're going to do is steer the ship further left.
Yes. They're going to go so left, they may actually come right again at some point. The Earth is round.
Yeah, or they're just come around to the point amidships. But they have not yet understood. The point I made last night with regard to when I was talking to Dan, I said, if you're a Democrat, the state of the GOP is a perfect condition for you to step in and slay them. Absolutely, the GOP cannot coalesce.
The GOP's a mess right now.
It's a dumpster fire.
And here's the best part. I think a vast majority of the GOP's problems come from them trying to feed into Democrats.
Well,
they've created their own hell.
That and fear and BZ's DC axiom.
Yeah.
But having said that, though, on the other hand, the Democrats themselves are a dumpster fire.
Oh, yeah.
And if the GOP could coalesce around itself,
slightly,
it could kill the Democrats.
So,
but both sides are upside. They're so upside down right now that neither one have the ability to pull themselves out of the pit that they're currently in.
So it's funny because you said you equated them both to a dumpster fire, and I have to correct you there. First and foremost, the GOP is a dumpster fire right now. The Democrats are an outright pile of manure on fire. It is amazing how horrible they are right now, and nobody's talking about it. If all of this other, and I'm not saying it's not important, but if all of this other news from the last 2 months, 3 months,
That's a perfect intro.
had not been brought out, we would be highlighting how fucked up the Democrat Party is right now. They are a ginormous, infested mess.
We got 3 minutes to the break. I know we're going to get to the Clintons, and where you're leading is towards the state of the art, the current state of affairs with the Democrats, which inextricably is linked to the Clintons. And so much stuff now has come out with regard to Bill Hill and where they're going and the future of the Democrat Party. And it's like, bus meet Clintons.
Oh, yeah.
Who next will get hurled?
And that bus has some spiked tires on it.
Oh, it's going to hurt somebody.
It's pretty nasty.
It's really going to hurt somebody.
And look at, Donna Brazil's book is the tip of the iceberg. And listen, I said this last week. Donna Brazil's book, to me, is a sign that all the Democrats think. Now, this is going to be a train of two thoughts, right? Because as left as Hillary is, Bernie's that much further left. But the vast majority of the party thinks that the Clintons are the problem. They want them gone because they aren't left enough, in their opinion. And they're total power and control freaks. And they're deviants, they're criminals, they're nasty, they're dirty. And these are the insiders, the people that have worked with them for years saying, hey, they got to go. They're destroying what we want. That alone, that is a separate issue from what the Democrats actually want, which, in my humble opinion, is to go further left.
I see no argument against that now or in the future.
Yeah.
With this one interesting caveat, and I'll wrap this up before we go to the break.
Of course.
One of the reasons I think that Bernie didn't or couldn't win yet, and I have to say yet, is because the big donors to the Democrats are kind of the same big donors to the establishhacks in terms of it's always been and always will be, unless there's a nuclear fire somewhere. It always will be quid pro quo. We cut you a check, you do some good shit for us. So installing Bernie Sanders, because if there's one thing that I have to say about Bernie Sanders, he's truthful, he's honest, he tells you exactly what he believes he is. He's a socialist. Mm-hmm. And so I have to admire him for at least he's honest. He's telling us what he is. But the other thing is, he wants to, if he were installed as president, he would rip out all the cash.
Oh, yes.
And then if politics, if that's the winning side in the Oval Office, then all the power mongers are starting to think, oh, well, that can't happen.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. I know what you're saying about Bernie saying he's a socialist, but he's also driving around a $100,000 Audi talking about the blight of the poor man.
And he's got a couple of houses.
Yeah, the man is a convenient socialist. He's honest about what he wants to do, but he's not honest about who he is. And that's just a friggin' reality.
Limousine liberal anyway?
Yes. Folks, we are up against the very first break here on the Sockheads Radio Show. When we come back, we're going to get into the Clintons like Bill got into interns. That's right.
Okay, all right.
That's right.
That's a nice simile. I'll take it.
I went
all
there.
Right. Yep, you did.
Well, that more. Here comes the hate mail, ladies and gentlemen. All that and more right here on the Sockheads Radio Show, live on the SHR Media Network.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Hey, it's Sean from the Sackheads Radio Show. Also one of the owners here at the SHR Media Network. Are you opinionated? Have you ever wanted to do your own show? Have you ever heard somebody like the Sackheads and go, yeah, I could probably do that better? Well, now's your chance. Send me a 5-minute clip at sackheadsradio@gmail.com. And maybe you can be part of the SHR broadcasting team. sackheadsradio@gmail.com.
Beware, the Jersey Takeover is here. Every Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you can catch Reaver Common Sense Show hosted by Jersey Joe, right here on shrmedia.com. Only Jersey can deliver hell like no one else. So consider this your fair warning.
Human by race, Christian by faith, American by nationality, and conservative by choice. Reverend Ralph J. Chittum Sr. is the right guy on SHR Media from 8:05 to 9 p.m. Monday through Friday. And if on the rare occasion I am ever wrong, I will still always be right. The right guy on SHR Media.
Power brokers use corrupt politicians, deceptive Islam, and lies from establishment media to turn the once shining city on a hill into the city of the blind. What do the elites fear? One man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me at SHR Media, High Plains Talk Radio, Spreaker, iTunes, and YouTube for a different kind of commentary on the unpleasant blind guy. Because truth is not always pleasant.
Hello, I'm Tim Hart. I'm the guy BZ hires due to his shameless contract with the SHR Media Network to voice his promos. He'd like me to tell you that the Bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show can be found on SHR Media Network, Spreaker, and YouTube every Tuesday and Thursday night at 11 p.m. Eastern and 8 p.m. Pacific, featuring right thinking from a left brain and doing the job the American media maggots won't. You'll find that the speech is free, but the drinks are not. There, in the saloon, just when safety pin manufacturers are running out of metal for the diapers of the leftists, BZ is sending his personal drones of freedom into the wheelhouses and ossicles of lovers of sovereignty and liberty nationally and globally. Broadcasting behind enemy lines in occupied California, BZ swears that no rights were harmed in the making of this promo.
This is Jersey Joe, host of the Reaver Common Sense, and you're listening to SHRmedia.com.
Yeah! Boom, 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 boom. Welcome back to the Sackheads Radio Show live on the SHR Media Network. Thank you so much for joining us.
Jersey Joe, that lucky bastard, took the entire week off.
Yeah, I know, right? God, I want his schedule.
No kidding.
He didn't even check with me again.
What, no memo?
No memo.
Not even a hello.
He didn't put in a time off request, and I certainly didn't approve it.
I was going to say, I don't remember seeing your signature on the bottom of that because in this company, we share all that stuff on the shared drive.
Yes.
We go to the inbox in the mail, and everybody can look at everybody else's inbox and a schedule. And you're right. I think he's bordering on insubordinate.
Oh, it's beyond insubordination. It's tomfoolery. It's jackassery. And it's shenaniganry, and I won't have it.
It's not permitted.
It's not permitted. And he's going to get a demerit. You know, when it's time for a raise, he's going to look awfully foolish. I'm just saying.
Well, here's, you make an excellent point, and that's this. What time is it? What time of year is it?
It is Thanksgiving, my friend.
Yeah,
it is
and
the
then
holiday
what's
season.
next month?
The next month is Christmas.
And what happens next month? That's when you send out the holiday bonus checks.
That's what I do.
Don't you?
And he didn't get one last year because he didn't qualify.
So I'm thinking to, and I know he's not listening, which is why we can talk behind his back.
As much as we can.
Thank you for mine last year.
Yes.
But Jersey Joe...
I couldn't believe how quick you cashed it.
Well...
You actually made me go with you to the bank to make sure it cleared. I was impressed.
That's my shameless contract. In any event, Jersey Joe, you may rue the day that you decided that you're not going to keep up with necessary practices and standards and the paperwork here at the SHR Media. Joe, you may have stepped in some serious poo, sir.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he might be ankle deep and not even knowing it.
Exactly.
Speaking of ankle deep and not even knowing it.
And not even wearing Korean sewer boots.
I do want to talk about the Korean defection at some point tonight. I think that's something that should make the list as well.
Defection?
Yes.
The little guy that skittered across the DMV?
Yes.
And then they found that he had about 30 pounds of parasites inside?
Yes.
Boy, if that's not indicative of living conditions
Holy cow.
in North Korea, I don't know what is.
Holy cow.
That's pretty damn startling. Pulling. How'd you like to be that dude? I don't even know if he's awake. How'd you like to be that dude and have a doctor go, and by the way, we found something in your guts this long.
You remember how well fed you thought you were compared to some of your countrymen?
Yeah, your tapeworm was well fed. You weren't, but your tapeworm was.
Most of that was tapeworm. Instead of 105 pounds, you're actually 75.
That's right. It was 38 pounds of tapeworm.
Holy cow.
Good Lord.
That video was incredible, though. I saw the video the UN released of the defection of him running the gate, running all the way down. You could see the North Korean soldiers shooting at him. You could see him running for freedom. And
Didn't he get hit like 5 times?
Yeah.
Something like that.
That's when you have a 30-pound tapeworm and you're malnourished and you get shot 5 times and you still keep going. That tells you how bad it is.
That's a couple of things. Now, what does that also say about the guys in North Korea that are shooting south at this guy? Maybe you need something more than iron sights.
Yeah.
Maybe you actually need a scope on that bad boy.
Well, and a lot of those rounds did cross into South Korea, obviously.
That was not good.
Surprisingly and luckily, there were no ROK Marines or U.S. soldiers that were hit because that could have gone south quickly.
Holy crap, can you imagine?
No, I cannot. My hats are off, though, to the ROK Marines who crawled amidst the gunfire and all the activity and saved this guy. And if you talk to some Korean folks, and I have, they understand that even though the North Koreans may not be aware of the situation because they're intentionally kept in the dark, even the military to a certain extent, they're aware that there is their brethren on some level. And they, the few I've talked to, they don't want them to live like that. You know what I mean? So the fact that these ROK Marines didn't just leave him there to bleed out, and not only did they rescue him, and they got him to a hospital, and of course they treat him, because South Korea is a very advanced
You already know that this bastard is motivated to become a South Korean.
Oh, yeah.
Holy crap, is this guy motivated.
That is some serious motivation.
Dave Milner, I started laughing because Dave Milner in chat said, hey.
The bionic Korean. Jenny Hulaver sent me a message calling him the bionic North Korean.
He said, BZ, did the tapeworm ask for asylum?
Yeah. Yeah, you know what?
Now that's some funny shit.
I didn't take that into consideration. Maybe it was the tapeworms trying to get out.
Right. Maybe he's going.
Maybe they took over the.
Run faster!
They took over the guy's body. They're like, all right, when we get shot, the tapeworms take the bullets. The tapeworms are taking the bullets. We got to go. Speaking of got to go, we got to move on. But if you have a chance to see that video, make sure you check it out. Oh, Bill Clinton, new accusers, air fuck one and more. This is not. Oh God. So if you are any person, not even the former president, sitting president, whatever, if you're any human being and your name comes up repeatedly with 2 separate private airliners, one of them nicknamed Airfuck One and the other one nicknamed the Lolita Express. I don't care what you want to say.
Clue.
That is a clue that even the FBI could pick up on. It is enormous. You have the Lolita Express, the airplane that was allegedly running grown businessmen down to have sex with children.
Yeah, the nice little pedophile airplane.
And then you now have Airfuck One, which was owned by Ron Burkle, who worked for Playboy when Clinton was doing some fundraising and nonprofit work with him. The 4 accusers are all former Burkle employees, some of them in their late teens when the alleged harassment and sexual assault happened. I know we talked about this last week, right? When you looking at the mindset of these people who victimize and attack people, this fits Clinton's MO, right? Because Monica was 21, 22. She was young.
Oh, well,
and
I can't not do this.
All these girls allegedly were late teens, early 20s as well. It follows a pattern. Immediately you have to add credibility to it, right? I mean, listen, you have Democrats now that are starting to say, oh, maybe we should rethink the Clintons. You have Oh, yeah. No, I mean, prime example.
This isn't Bill Clinton 20 years ago.
No, this was like a year and a half ago.
This is Bill Clinton about 5 years ago. This is his proclivity. That's what he's doing now. He did it then. He's doing it now. How'd you like to be the chick in let's see, that would be the left of Bill Clinton with his cold, clammy hands on your shoulder? Does that not give you the ickies or
it's like
what?
getting groped by the crypt keeper.
Oh, God.
But it follows the pattern. Now you have Democrats who are coming out saying, oh, well, maybe the Clintons should be rethought. And we need to look hard again at what happened. You have some of his defenders coming out and said, well, he's already lived through this once. Well, this is a new set. This is a new set.
No,
I've also read the allegations that he's spending a majority of his time down in Arkansas. Hillary spends almost no time down there with him, rightfully so. Well, she wants to hire private investigators to dig up dirt on these women like she has done in the past to try to destroy them because, in her mind, she has another race to run in 3 years.
Let me ask you this question. Dan and I were talking last night, and he seems to think that Hillary still has power and she's going to come back. I'm of the opinion that the Clintons you can almost officially stick the fork in them when people on the left start skewering the Clintons.
Yes.
And there's other stories
that
we're going to get into. But when you've got people that are former supporters of Bill and Hill now going, no, it's time to move aside. And like the Bushes are yesterday, the Clintons are yesterday now, with some exceptions. Now, there's some people that are saying or thinking in terms of actions that the Clintons don't count them out yet. They still have some power. So the question, I asked this of Dan. He and I talked about it last night. Who do you think has more power, Sean? Bill or Hillary?
Hillary does, by far. Hillary does. Bill's been in the background for a reason, right? I just mentioned he's been hanging out in Arkansas the whole time. He's probably doing what we don't want to know about. She's staying as far away as possible because she still wants to run. Now, I'll tell you right now, I think in Bill's mind, I can almost guarantee you Bill's probably wants her to pack it in and just say, hey, we're done. We're done. You live up there, I'll live down here, and we'll call bygones be bygones, but let's not run any more races, okay? Because he knows that she's making a fool. Bill's a savvy politician. He's a complete scumbag.
He's so much smarter than she is, it's not even remotely funny. However, she is much more vengeful and vindictive than he could ever be.
Well, and I think that's how those two became successful, right? It's a marriage made in hell. He was the suave politician who everybody loved and everybody who met him liked him. He's easygoing, he's funny, he's friendly, all these things. And
all the things she's not.
All the things she is not. And then when it was time to drop the hammer, on Bill too sometimes, according to Arkansas State Police, but when it was time to drop the hammer, that's when Hillary would come in. And I always go back to Tammy Jackson's article, The Bodies of Hillary Clinton. The reason it's not the bodies of the Clintons. I think everybody knows that when it comes time to be evil and nasty and wicked and do horrific things, Hillary is the hatchet woman, and she's proud of it. And I don't think she cares who she ruins. I don't think she cares who she hurts. She wants that power. There's a reason that as soon as I got out of the White House, she ran for Senate. It wasn't because she wants to keep serving her nation.
Oh, yeah, that's a
bunch of bullshit. It's because she wanted the power to come back. Right now, you're a nobody. You're ex-first lady. Well, what are you supposed to do? You're supposed to do what the other ex-first ladies do and just kind of enjoy your life. Not Hillary. Getting right back into politics.
If you're Hillary, that's why last November was so delicious.
Yes.
It was so wonderful because she took all the steps. She did all the things necessary to it was her turn. She took so much crap that she figured it's her turn. I've done so much garbage for you, Bill. I've held the water for the Democrats, and now it's time. I've made the steps. I've gone through the Senate. I've become Secretary of State. I've thrown my hat in the ring for president. I should have damn well been president.
Oh, yeah.
And then can you imagine? That's why she completely fell apart Remember that night. Who came out in lieu of her? Because she could
Podesta.
not. Yes,
Podesta.
Podesta. She could not and would not face the piper and the music to be played that night. That was so beneath her to have been handed her arse like that in such a public fashion. And she's going to get revenge on the people of the United States in any way possible, fashion.
Well, and from what I heard too, she was too busy destroying everybody backstage and ripping everybody apart.
Yelling, screaming, tossing down the drinks.
Yep. She was an absolute mess. So, but now we come back to Bill Clinton. Now you have the woman who, I forget her name, it starts with an S, but she's the senator after Hillary left, who ran on Hillary's coattails, loved the Clintons. The Clintons gave him money, blah, 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 blah. She came out and spoke against Bill Clinton. All these people are coming out and speaking against Bill Clinton now. They are using all of things that they should be using in a way, if you're trying to get rid of the Clintons, they're using the ammo wisely. And you have major political pundits coming out and saying, well, maybe we do have to go back and judge Bill differently now.
Here's an article from CNN, and you and I talked about this before the show, and this is beginning to be typical of what's occurring these days.
Yes.
Even CNN is writing stuff like this. The headline, Sebelius, the Clinton White House doubled down on abusive behavior, and I never thought that I would hear or read this, and it's fair to criticize Hillary Clinton. Now, this is
from CNN.
Yeah. This is Catherine Sebelius, who was that health and housing something or other, health and human services, and she was also a Kansas governor.
Yeah.
As she says, and so it doubled down on not only bad behavior, but abusive behavior. And then people attacked the victims. And I bet that Sebelius and the people that are pointing their fingers now at Clinton are thinking that this is some incredible virtue signaling and how wonderful and virtuous I am for standing up in the face of this crap. Where were you when the Clintons actually had power? Now, this is a signal, not of virtue, but it's a signal of the loss of power that the Clintons are experiencing now.
Tremendous loss of power. And I hope, above hope, that it keeps losing. Of course, we want to welcome Sackhead Clint, who finally was able to make it.
Now, hang on a second. Let's be real. And I know we weren't going to spring this on the people until we knew it was absolutely ready.
Mm-hmm.
But here at the Sackheads, we've been working on something very exciting, and we weren't going to tell you until after the first of the year, and we had some bugs worked out. But I think after tonight's test, I think we can go ahead and unveil it to you guys tonight. And what the Sackheads have been working on here is a cloak of invisibility. Now, it worked so well.
Where did we get it? The Klingons. No, wait, no. We got it from the Romulans. I'm sorry, my mistake.
We got
the Romulans.
Now you're being silly. We got it from the Russians.
I got the R right. Okay, I got the R right.
And it worked so well that if you saw me on camera, it appeared as though I was not here.
Right.
Now, one of the side effects from the cloak of invisibility is we just found out, because I finally had to take it off.
It also smells weird. Like, it smells like a whole bunch of bullshit.
It does, right?
Yeah,
and
it just fills the room with bullshit.
It smells weird. But what was weird is when every time I tried to talk, like you guys couldn't hear me, and so that's one of the kinks that we have to work out.
It affects the vocal cords somehow.
Yeah.
Well, and it's really when it gets turned off and you're visible again, does it smell like a whole bunch of bullshit?
Yeah,
that's
which
really
is
weird.
Weird, right? Which is really weird. So we'll be working on that. Just so you know, that may be a bunch of bullshit. We don't know, but
could be.
What? So, anyways, look, I ran that errand.
Right.
And our worst fears have in fact been confirmed.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
California is not going conservative anytime soon.
Oh,
so,
well.
Yeah,
I was hoping.
It was a special assignment, and
yeah.
I appreciate all the legwork you went into that, and the hours and hours and hours.
It is, but here's what I did find out is that the city of Los Angeles, right, the great beacon on the hill,
yes,
or in the valley, is experiencing a major hepatitis A epidemic.
Oh, and San Diego too.
It is literally, yeah, but it's all coming into Los Angeles. Like Los Angeles it's a bigger problem than it is in San Diego.
Hepe Central.
Yes, and here's the thing: it's they can't figure out why. Well, I got an idea. Clean up all the fucking hobos on your street that are pissing and shitting all over the place.
Right.
And maybe you won't have this problem.
But that's wrong to say. That's wrong to point the finger at those poor people.
No, it's not. Fuck them.
All the dookie on the street.
Yes.
Is the problem.
Yes. And who and who puts it there?
The people living there.
And here's what's screwed up. So you look at the upcoming gubernatorial cycle, right?
Yes.
And who is a major player in that? You have Gavin Newsom,
right,
out of one shithole city, San Francisco,
right? That smells like pee.
Which smells like and Dookie,
and
as you so eloquently
No.
put
But
it.
the water in San Francisco, the sewage and water system is so bad they've been pouring gallons upon hundreds of gallons of bleach into it daily in order to limit the smell from emanating throughout the city.
Yeah, look, it's San Francisco is a dirty, nasty, disgusting cesspool of a city.
And that's just the politics. It's also dirty.
It's also like literally dirty too.
But at least it's cooler.
And the other major candidate is from Los Angeles, where now it's so freaking disgustingly dirty and nasty also that they're having a major hepatitis A breakout. Folks, this is what those policies do. And now they want the state to be this.
No, Clint, that's what
haven.
shit does. The policies didn't do it. The shit did it. It's the shit's fault.
But
no. If we can blame the gun.
Hang on. Yeah, that's true. Hang on. Shit in, shit out, right? So we get shit in terms of politicians, and we get shit out literally on the street that everyday people get to walk through.
We were having such a nice conversation a few minutes ago, and now we're discussing
sometimes things like this
feces.
need to be said. The other thing that's just
Hang
great.
on, did that not need to be said?
It did need
No,
to be
it did
said.
need to be said.
Absolutely.
No,
It's state politics. This is what's.
Hey, listen.
The other thing that's
Listen, I have a lot of pent up anger.
California
in case you guys
state
can't
politics right now is not pretty, because the reports that are coming out now from what's going on in the Senate with along the abuse lines has been all over local newspapers around here as well. So that just shows you what happens when Democrats are in charge.
tell. I don't know what you're talking about.
The good thing in L.A. the past 2 days, today and yesterday, is it's been 90 degrees. So
The dookie smells better.
Mix 90-degree heat with tons of dookie plus Hep A equals there's your living conditions in L.A.
Yes.
How great is that?
Good morning, L.A. It's 90 degrees today in the valley. You can smell the hepatitis A in the air. This is your live chopper report.
Here's your dookie report.
Going down the homeless road. Did you see, and I think it was in L.A., it could have been in San Diego, they went into a homeless camp that had an underground cavern that was dug out, and they were living down there. 1,200 stolen bikes, so we can talk about the crime associated with homelessness.
No.
Yeah. But
that can't be.
Do
you believe it?
No,
I
absolutely
don't
not.
believe it.
No.
Now,
they just need help.
Exactly.
When
Thank you.
When you want to
Thank
save
you.
lives, hold on. When you want to save lives, and you're the Democrats, they were living in an unlicensed, unappropriated structure that it was unsafe for everybody who went in
And
there.
they haven't been paying their taxes on it.
And he said, no taxes, but Democrats don't care about that.
Oh, yes, they do. They give a shit about
No,
those property
because they're
taxes.
rich. No, they're not rich. If they were rich, that would be an issue.
It doesn't matter. That's still property they're occupying. They need to be taxed on that.
Never mind the fact that the sewage was terrible. There were so many city code violations. And if you want to help them, then you got to do something about the homelessness problem.
Well, listen, look, if they wouldn't be in that condition if it weren't for the policies of the Republicans that have been in power for so long in the Los Angeles and San Francisco areas.
Speaking of which, Chicago's up over 600 homicides. Speaking of the Republican bastion.
Oh, yeah, 650 now.
Yeah, 650.
By the way, did you guys hear that
homicides.
this report came out recently from Colorado as to the first year of full-time dope for Colorado? Homelessness in Colorado has skyrocketed.
No.
Accidents, vehicular accidents
No.
have skyrocketed.
Wait, how?
I find that so difficult
the
to
people,
believe.
the homeless, have been flooding Colorado because they want their free dope, access to dope, people who are going to give them dope, people who are going to prescribe them dope, and then there have been tons of ODs of children
Yes.
on
Yes,
dope.
THC.
And that they're discovering that the kids in school now are under the influence of THC.
I also
And you know, I didn't see this coming.
Yeah, listen.
Wait. The other
Yeah.
thing I want to throw onto that, and I'm sorry, Clint, you look at the amount of officer-involved shootings that Colorado as a state has been involved in the last year, and that has gone up through the roof.
Look, you bring up another problem. Why do cops have guns? I mean, if cops didn't have guns, then bad guys would not be getting shot. And innocent citizens that the cops routinely beat for no reason whatsoever.
Don't forget shakedown and plant dope.
Would be and yeah, that's the other thing. So if in Colorado is the marijuana crime down? Are the arrests for marijuana possession and sales down?
I'll tell you what,
through the floor.
Are they down? Exactly. So you see what smart legislation does. Smart legislation on this front has absolutely killed the marijuana problem because there have been no arrests for it.
With this caveat, the thefts of Cheetos and Lay's potato chips are skyrocketing.
And Twinkies.
Oh, and Twinkies.
Shoplifting.
Thank you.
Shoplifting under $5.99 is through the roof.
Here's why this is important, and I do have to say this because we are being listened to by a 13-year-old and a 23-year-old.
Okay.
Box Wine.
Yes.
And KB.
Okay.
Are listening.
Well, hello.
And this is why it is so important to get a good education about what's going on in our screwed up state right now. So these are important issues we're talking about, and they span generations, or a generation and a half, really.
Yeah, well, and it's going to keep going. It's going to keep going because we're in the People's Republic.
Deep Dookie.
I think it's funny that they call this state the People's Republic of California as a nickname, and the California Republic is.
It's what we were,
right?
Yeah, we had a president for like 4 days or something like that.
But there is nothing like a republic in the state when you look at the government. No part of it whatsoever. It's insane.
I was listening to somebody on a radio show today whose name I shall not mention, who was saying that even though conditions in California are plummeting, California will still continue to benefit because people are so disinterested that, well, they're so locked into California, they're not going to move.
Want to bet?
And to that I say, bullshit.
Yes.
They're doing it now.
Yes.
And so are your businesses.
Yep.
It's sad. It's really look at California is as you think it is, and I wish we were exaggerating half the time. But Katie Grimes over Flash Report, and if you follow her at all on social media, especially Facebook, she's a local reporter. She is one of the few conservative reporters that covers the California State Assembly,
Damn, you're the only
California
one.
state government. And if you want to know what is going on, read her article. She just did a huge expose on a whole bunch of things that are wrong in the California Senate.
What's her website?
Just if you look her on Facebook, she links all of her articles. She writes in a couple different places. But her name is Katie Grimes, and she's incredible. She's also does a lot of radio.
Oh, Flash Report? Is that it?
Yes.
Okay, let me see if I can snag this up and put it in chat.
There you go. But yeah, it's definitely a...
What are you doing?
The URL. I'm going to put it in chat.
Technology.
I know.
You just said URL, and Clint just peed a little bit.
I know.
Because he's like, I know I should know what this means.
And
I'm
not looking.
I'm like, I am not L.
I am not looking under this table
L,
either
to
confirm.
I'm a URL.
Call me an L. Call you an L.
Oh, man. All right. Well, we're up against a break.
We are?
Yeah.
We are.
Yeah. I am? It is?
It is? Here, play with this, Ron.
Here, give this out, Vinny, Jimmy, all the boys.
Wait a minute. What the hell kind of a URL is this? This is wacky.
URL.
You're
an L.
You're an L.
Talk to me that way.
We're up against the break here on the Sackheads Radio Show.
There
When we return, we have a whole bunch of topics. I want to talk a little bit about Norco and terrorism, NOCO and terrorism, and Fusion GMS, and I am sure we will get into a whole bunch of other shite right here on the Sackheads Radio Show live on the SHR Media Network.
The best late-night
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Hey, it's Sean from the Sackheads Radio Show, also one of the owners here at the SHR Media Network. Are you opinionated? Have you ever wanted to do your own show? Have you ever heard somebody like the Sackheads and go, yeah, I could probably do that better?
Well, now's your chance. Send me a 5-minute clip at sackheadsradio@gmail.com, and maybe you can be part of the SHR broadcasting team. sackheadsradio@gmail.com.
Beware, the Jersey Takeover is here. Every Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. till 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you can catch River Common Sense Show hosted by Jersey Joe, right here on shrmedia.com. Only Jersey can deliver hell like no one else. So consider this your fair warning.
Human by race, Christian by faith, American by nationality, and conservative by choice. Reverend Ralph J. Chittum Sr. is the right guy on SHR Media from 8:05 to 9 p.m. Monday through Friday. And if on the rare occasion I am ever wrong, I will still always be right. The right guy on SHR Media.
Power brokers use corrupt politicians, deceptive Islam, and lies from establishment media to turn the once shining city on a hill into the city of the blind. What do the elites fear? One man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me at SHR Media, High Plains Talk Radio, Spreaker, iTunes, and YouTube for a different kind of commentary on the unpleasant blind guy. Because truth is not always pleasant.
Hello, I'm Tim Hart. I'm the guy BZ hires, due to his shameless contract with the SHR Media Network, to voice his promos. He'd like me to tell you that the Bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show can be found on SHR Media Network, Spreaker, and YouTube every Tuesday and Thursday night at 11 p.m. Eastern and 8 p.m. Pacific, featuring right thinking from a left brain and doing the job the American media maggots won't. You'll find that the speech is free, but the drinks are not. There, in the saloon, just when safety pin manufacturers are running out of metal for the diapers of the leftists, BZ is sending his personal drones of freedom into the wheelhouses and ossicles of lovers of sovereignty and liberty nationally and globally. Broadcasting behind enemy lines in occupied California, BZ swears that no rights were harmed in the making of this promo.
This is Jersey Joe, host of the Reverb Common Sense, and you're listening to SHR Media.
Thank you for the mashed potatoes, by the way.
No problem.
Did you make those?
I did.
Nice work.
Welcome back to the Sackheads Radio Show live on the SHR Media Network. Thank you so much for joining us.
Did you
this
actually
Thanksgiving
mash the
Eve.
potatoes, or did they come out of a damn box?
They actually came out of a bag, but they were pseudo mashed. But I added all
the deliciousness.
Yeah, they were flavorless until I touched them, and then magic.
It's like, bing.
Garlic parmesan.
You know what's weird is if Michael Jackson never made that comment, like that would
be oddly inappropriate.
The Michael Jackson Sail Boys pants half off.
Very inappropriate again.
Yeah, thank you.
Welcome to the Sackheads Radio Show. Oh, man. So North Korea being designated as a state sponsor of terror.
Let's see. Because North Korea was on that list as a state sponsor of terrorism, who removed that specificity in 2008?
I'll take Barack Obama's stupid moves for 200.
George Bush.
Ooh.
Damn, so I would have got that wrong. Which Bush?
George.
Which one?
HW or W?
W.
HW or just W?
W.
Just plain W?
In 2008.
No H?
Nope.
So W.
Now think about that.
That was stupid.
Think about that. Number one, I'll never say anything good about a Bush again because...
Whoa. Listen,
George...
there's plenty of good things to say about Bush. Now, yeah, and I don't look. I don't look, BZ. I don't judge.
Let me be
like that's awesome. I'm very happy for you, but I'm gonna say very good things about Bush. I love Bush.
Maybe I should be specific about that.
About Bush, be very specific when we're talking Bush.
The Bush is Jeb, George, etc.
Oh,
coming out and trying to excoriate Trump as if the past 8 years didn't exist, and they were running in complete radio silence with regard to Barack Hussein Obama. And further,
Good. I'm sorry. He just.
Was it visual? Did I miss something? I was looking down at the computer screen.
I am stuck between the first 45 minutes of the show and after Clint came up. What a different show it miraculously changed into.
What a difference a day
all of a sudden we're talking
makes.
about Levin Bush and not the president.
What?
El Presidente.
What? Come on, man.
Come on, man. Why you do me like that?
So I'm sorry, BZ. Please continue.
So what that says, that's a hell of a comment on George Bush, thinking that North Korea is actually going to put down their nuclear arms if they're taken off the terrorist designation. You think you're actually that stupid?
Why are you looking at Sean when you said that?
Yeah, no shit, old man.
Right?
What the hell?
Like, what the hell? I come in and all of a sudden you want to gangbang Sean? I mean, gang up on Sean? What is this?
Wait, how did I end up in the middle of it?
That's what happens. It's by definition. Listen to what I just said. You end up in the middle. That's not my fault. It's just how it goes.
So, BZ, I have to agree with you. It was stupid.
How naive are you
as
to
a president
think that North Korea, or for that fucking matter, Iran, are going to keep any of the agreements that they sign no matter what?
Now, so
do you not take history into consideration?
I'm taking umbrage with the fact that you're blaming George W. Bush on this. And he screwed up. I'm not taking that away. I agree he screwed up. But in order to really look at how North Korea got where they are today, you have to take it back to Bill Clinton.
Yes.
And so I'm not ready to hang this. I'm not ready to hang this around George W.
I'm not hanging the whole North Korea situation.
I'm not hanging the whole meat curtain on Bush. I mean, this.
No.
What?
I'm shutting your microphone off. That was like your fifth one for the hour.
Fifth what? I'm confused. I don't even know what you're talking about right now. What happened?
What happened is when Clinton signed the bill for the heat-seeking moisture missile complex.
Heat-seeking moisture missile and Bill Clinton.
Everything changed. Absolutely everything changed.
He was always into the heat-seeking moisture missile.
What happened?
Complex.
We already covered Clinton.
We did, but I mean,
he's
responsible for that starting the North Korean.
Yes, he is.
Absolutely, 100%.
Yes, he is.
And China.
So that being said, I don't know. And look, I'm not a huge fan of W. Right? There's some things that he did that I obviously disagree with.
Obviously.
But what information did he have that made him take that designation away? Was North Korea not financing terror operations at the time? I don't know. But I'm certainly, and I'm not saying he did it right. I mean, hindsight's 20/20, right? I mean, hindsight, like 200 something odd years now, we can say, yeah, slavery probably wasn't the best idea. But back then, that was kind of the way of the world. Thank you, British, for bringing that here. So I don't know what information George W. had, but Bill Clinton should have fucking known better with who he was dealing with the Kims. And North Korea.
And not the Kardashian.
Yeah, not the Kardashian.
Though I'm sure Bill wanted to deal with the Kardashian.
A lot, and he may have.
First black president.
And he may have. Well, the Kardashian?
No,
Bill.
Wait. I get where you're going. Okay.
I'm just saying.
Right. You thought that was going to go over my head. No, I got that one. Okay. I actually got that one. You guys.
What?
Are we up against a break yet?
No. Oh my gosh. I got called a dirty Caucasian today downtown.
What? No.
Yes. Or not today, but yesterday.
You are Portuguese.
In downtown Sacramento. No, I did. I got called a dirty Caucasian. My window was down, and I got yelled at from a hobo who was of African descent, and she yelled at me and called me a dirty Caucasian. Though this is a true story. I had two witnesses with me.
Had you not taken a shower?
No, I had taken a shower.
Were there flies buzzing around you?
I was making a left-hand turn from northbound 10th Street to leftbound or westbound onto I Street, and right there on the corner to my left, as I hooked my turn, I got called a dirty Caucasian.
I wish I was there.
Oh my gosh! I stopped. No.
I wish I was there for this.
I stopped the car.
Yeah.
And I looked at her, and she looked shocked that I even stopped, right? Like, oh, my God, this white guy must be crazy. And I said, I don't even know where Caucasia is.
You know,
And she looked.
Is it a separate continent?
It's the Caucasus.
She looked like an armadillo doing a math problem. The look on her face. Yes, the look on her face.
Doing a math problem.
Yes,
the visual alone got me.
The look on her face, and she was like, "Well, you're Caucasian," and I was like, "I don't even know. I've never been there. Tell me about it. It sounds exciting." She literally thought I lost my damn mind and turned and went the other direction.
She would not be wrong. She would not be wrong about that. You did lose your goddamn mind a long time ago. So that part she'd be actually very accurate about. So I actually had this conversation with somebody. I said, I've never been to the beautiful country of Caucasia. And they're like, no,
Right.
it's the Caucasus in Eastern Europe.
I haven't been around a lot of Caucasus either.
I haven't been around. No, neither have I.
BZ, what's it like?
That's just not funny, man.
So the designation with North Korea. What does this open up for the Trump administration? Look, we've talked about a couple things with this, right? First and foremost, there's already the standing war declaration between the South and North. We're aligned with the South. So we do have a standing war declaration with North Korea.
We don't.
The South does, but as
Correct.
their ally, we do.
Right.
In a way.
Ipso facto.
So...
I work for
so facto.
You work for the bank. Bank works for me, and so facto, you work for me.
So
he was waiting all week to put
to
that
use
in
ipso
here.
facto. I know, but the other thing is the
Dodgeball. Come on, guys.
I
know you knew.
I knew right away.
Come on, BZ.
So the terror money, though, that's something, and the legislation that goes with the war on terror, it can now be applied to North Korea yet again.
Yes.
This changes a lot of how we can deal with North Korea as far as intercept, as far as spying.
Now we can send in assassination teams.
Well, essentially.
Decapitation. No, what's he afraid of? Decapitation teams.
He is petrified of
decapitation teams, which is a branch of special forces.
Yes.
As a matter of fact, it's its own military branch.
Right.
We have, and most people don't know this, but in the United States we have the Army, the Navy, the Marines,
Right.
which is a division of the Navy, right? As much as they hate that, we have the Air Force, and we have the decapitation branch
And the decapitators.
Right. Right.
That was a thrash metal band, I think, a couple of years ago.
The Decapitators?
I knew the drummer.
They were awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, his name was Skills.
Yeah.
I remember him, yeah.
Yep. He had great
So this
skills.
This can very
I see what you did there.
this could very
Thank
much
you.
apply a totally different set of rules to how we deal with North Korea under this nuclear threat. This could apply, like you said, the decapitation teams. All joking aside, though, the type of force, if any, that we're using, the fact that we don't need a separate declaration.
We still have 3 carriers.
Yes, we do.
Over there, 3 carrier groups
Yep.
over there.
Yeah.
Let's see. Reagan, Nimitz.
Ford? No, Ford's not out yet.
No. And I can't think of
We don't want the Ford over there. Reagan over there is great. Like, we'll take Reagan. Ford.
It'll trip over a wave.
Yeah, if I was president of the United States, I'd be like, yeah, so what carriers do we have there? We have the Reagan. Okay, good. The Vincent. Okay, awesome. And the Ford. Fuck no, get that out of there.
If
Decommission it.
if
Send the Constitution.
Sir, it's brand new. Decommission it.
Decommission it now. Decommission it.
If Chevy Chase does not put on an aircraft carrier outfit and do some falling down, he's missing a humongous
A
opportunity.
huge opportunity.
I'm just saying, bringing it back
Yes.
a little bit. So, BZ, I'm going to go around the room because I do want your insight on this. As far as
there isn't really much more that you can do in terms of sanctions for North Korea. I think we've pretty much reached the sanction limit. Where I think this may be effective is in terms of other nations. They, I suspect, will be more reticent to deal with North Korea because they don't want to get the fallout that some other nations will say, but look,
Nuclear or otherwise.
you shouldn't be dealing with North Korea. You are now dealing with a designated terrorist state.
Well,
and a lot of other nations are not going to want to go there now, whereas before perhaps they did.
I have a different take.
Okay.
I think that Trump was very strategic. I think he used a lot of strategery in classifying this.
Strategery.
And here's why I say that. Trump has a working relationship in certain areas with Vladimir Putin. Vladimir Putin, say what you like about the man. He's not a good guy. I am not saying he's a good guy at all. But
yes, go ahead.
Sorry, I had to remove that from the desk. Excuse me while I whip this out.
Pardon me while I whip this out.
Vladimir Putin is no friend of terrorists. And he is kind of really taking charge and leading the way in a lot of respects in the war on terror. Look at Syria, for example. And yes, he's allied with Bashar Assad, who's an asshole. I'll give you that. But who's the greater threat? That fucking jackass who we can deal with later, or ISIS. And I would tend to believe that terrorism, the ISIS, is the greater threat there. So Trump's really working that angle and building that relationship with Russia in terms of fighting terror.
Mm-hmm.
China is on North Korea's side.
Yes.
We've already talked about on this show how Russia, we think, is kind of sitting back. They're no fan of North Korea, but they're really not involved. By designating North Korea a state sponsor of terror, I think it gives the Trump administration a little bit more play in terms of enlisting Russia to our side in this endeavor to deal with and rein in North Korea and keep China on board with keeping North Korea reined in. So I think that he did it. Look, Trump is not a stupid man. As much as people hate him and want to think he's a knucklehead, Trump is a brilliant man, and I believe that the relationship with Russia and potentially partnering them, particularly we know he's looking to partner with Russia and work with them on the war on terror. Designating North Korea a state sponsor of terror brings Russia into the fold on that front now, on our side.
Well,
First of all, tell me how fucking brilliant that was.
I don't think it was that fucking brilliant.
No, I don't.
Seriously, that's ridiculous. That was absolutely brilliant.
That's kind of
really. Where else have you read that? Because I haven't read it anywhere, which means
right here.
Pretty fucking.
I'm looking at it right here.
I'm just saying,
that's not true. What website is that? That's all around the Barnyard, BZ. It's not on that on that website.
.org.
It's
a .org.
That is a .org.
It's totally different.
I'm looking at
that's
NPR. It's NPR.
.edu.
NPR. It's on NPR.
Hey, the head of NPR got kicked out too.
We'll get around to that. I want to finish up on my NOCO. Hold on. So here's the few states who...
It was brilliant.
It was.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Have you read that anywhere else?
Yeah, no.
I haven't read that analysis anywhere else either.
No,
you heard it here first. Is it there?
Yeah, it's here.
What does it say?
It says, listen to what Clint has to say.
Yeah, it does. Exactly. I'm writing for NPR now.
I know.
Really.
That's right. You're right.
Thank you. Sorry, go ahead, Sean.
No, go ahead.
It was brilliant.
Go ahead. It was very good.
I think it'll
Sean?
hurt. I think it'll be bad for North Korea.
Go
Moving
ahead.
right along.
Go ahead, Sean.
Yeah.
And now we bring it to Sean.
Yes, go ahead. Go ahead, Sean.
Sean's team.
That's right.
No, but so long and short too, though, is I think it's the last thing. I think it's the last thing too that you can kind of do to North Korea prior to any sort of military action. Like BZ said, sanctions are gone. Right? You can't do any more sanctions. You can't get blood from a stone or food from a 10-foot tapeworm in a North Korean soldier's body. You can't do it. So you had to go to another route, right? So you're keeping anyone else that may have been trading out with the terror designation. But the other thing you're doing is you're indicating to North Korea and the world, hey, this is the last step that we have. Mm-hmm. Other than this, we're going to have to go down another road that you're not going to want to go down. So we've done everything. We have done everything.
Did you see the video footage of
we talked about that earlier.
Okay.
Yes. Oh, my God, yeah.
Yeah, of the Iranian general that went over and high-fived little Kim and said, "Congratulations, we're both state sponsors of terror now."
Yeah.
Did you see that?
I didn't see that.
Oh, you didn't?
No.
Oh,
didn't the guy? They both.
I love the high five part.
Yeah, they both went represent.
That wasn't even the communist fist, which is weird.
Terror.
Yeah,
like
terror. Right? It was bizarre. You ever seen an Iranian general do a high five to a fat North Korean dictator?
Have you ever seen?
Well, it's
have you
easy,
ever seen Kim
'cause he's so
Jong Un
much
do
shorter.
anything high?
Right.
For him, it's still a medium 5.
I actually have seen him do something high when he lays on his back because of his belly and his girth.
But that's when he's trying to imitate a mountain range.
Hello.
So I like.
Do you think we have death sentences in North Korea yet?
If not, we got to keep working for it. I really would love that. You know, we've talked about it before, right? A couple years ago, we were like, do we have a fatwa yet? We haven't got one yet. Why don't we have one yet? Why did that not happen?
We want our own.
Now I want the death sentence from North Korea. I just think that really would be accomplishing something.
Right. Like okay. Send us the signed death warrant.
I want to frame it, put it on my wall.
We'll see what we can do about making the trip.
That's right. We'll also give you a certificate for a star named after you.
Right. We'll submit to your authority.
Is there any way that we can email the North Korean government? Like, is there a way to get in touch with them so we can ask for it?
We'd like to plead guilty to something.
Yeah, hey, I will absolutely give an admission. Under North Korean law, even being this far away.
You know why? Here's why. Because there may be something effed up under some progressive United Nations thing 25 years from now. Where we'd get extradited. Yeah.
All of a sudden, the UN's kicking our door in. Like, hey, you're going to make a stop at The Hague, and then you're on your way to North Korea. Son of a bitch.
I just looked it up. It's
Bring a lunch, boys.
It's North Korea at hermitkingdom.biz.
.biz. Oh.
Oh,
dude,
man,
we got to pull that off.
Did you see Kim Jong-un actually has a Twitter handle? Like, you know how all these like people in power have like alternate Twitter, like James Comey had his alternate Twitter thing.
Well, and they've got alternate emails.
Yeah, it's like little fat dictator. That's his handle.
How did it taste?
Like it. Not little fat dick taster.
Oh, I'm totally different.
That's what Sean. Okay, I thought I misheard that too. Okay.
Yeah,
I thought it was just my ears.
No, dictator. What they do is with shoulders that don't obey, they cut off. It's not important.
Anyways,
they make almost
right
like
now.
a mashed potato kind of dish.
It's a tater.
It's a dictator.
By the way, Dan says go on Twitter and call Little Kim fat. Your death sentence will come shortly.
I seriously, I am going to find a way to email the North Korean government and say, hey, just so you know, I plead guilty to calling Kim Jong-un short and fat as well.
Yeah, you can't do that, right? Because there will be some, like 30 years from now, there'll be some
totally worth it.
Yeah, there'll be some
totally worth it. I don't care what anyone says. Totally worth it. Yeah, I would, dude. You know how great that would be. Seriously.
30 years from now, Sean's like, fuck you.
Yeah.
They're like, no, seriously, we need you to get on a plane.
Get your light blue hat off my fucking porch. Because we still have the Second Amendment, and as far as I'm concerned, you're an invading force.
Mm-hmm.
I declare war on the United Nations from my living room. Pew, pew, pew. You guys don't even have guns. This is great.
Yeah, what are you guys doing? Clint, get over here.
Why are you throwing a bag of food at me? I thought you were a military force.
It's not even good food.
It's not even good food.
It's ramen.
This is why everyone hates you. Oh, man. Oh. BZ, we have 7 minutes left. You want to talk about Jack Ruby and the FBI informant really quick?
I was just going to bring that up, and I don't know if you had heard that, Clint, but they revealed a whole bunch of papers, like 14,000 documents in the first dump.
When was that?
Probably the first dump was about
a couple weeks ago, right? When we talked about it.
2 weeks ago.
Yep.
And then they had a recent dump of about 14,000 documents or so, now from the Daily Mail Online. The headline is, Jack Ruby told an FBI informant to, quote, watch the fireworks just hours before Kennedy's assassination, newly released JFK files reveal. Now, if that's not strange, I don't know what is. Telling us once again, there's so much of this crap that we don't know.
Hang on, what was the date of the assassination?
November 22nd, 1963.
Okay, so very, very close to the 4th of July.
Right.
Or New Year's. Right. So clearly he was talking about the New Year's celebration. That was going to be forthcoming in a couple months.
Yeah, so this is conspiracy crap.
So this is clearly conspiracy crap. Yeah, back then fireworks were not outlawed in a lot of jurisdictions as they are today.
As today, when fireworks are outlawed, only outlaws will have fireworks.
Right. So I don't see what the big report on this story is.
What?
Easy.
Dookie.
So yeah,
The word of the day.
It's
is
really strange
dookie.
that would come up, and then obviously Jack Ruby's involvement after the fact, right?
What did he do?
Oh,
nothing.
May have.
He just owned a bar with strippers. That's all.
Yeah, that's all. He was just a something or other.
Mob
He's just
guy.
a local
Was he a
business
mob
owner.
guy?
Yes, he was.
Mob guy, right?
Association of the Mob. But for him to say that to an FBI informant prior to the incident wasn't just some random guy saying it and loosely, maybe possibly associated, right? Like
it's the guy that killed Oswald.
It's the guy that
They had
killed
to prevent
Oswald.
him from saying anything, right?
Yeah. Yeah. When you're trying to keep somebody quiet.
Hey, Oswald.
And you don't care. And when you're the mob and you're so confident that you would do that nationally and not worry about anything, that's pretty incredible.
Yeah.
And you're like, what's the worst that's going to happen to me? Well, shit. He's kind of right.
Yeah. Oh, they're going to try and prosecute me? That's all right. He's next.
Yeah. You can prosecute me. I know nothing.
The paragraph in here says the interaction on the morning of the president's murder wasn't relayed to the FBI until March 1977, despite being told to an FBI informant 14 years earlier. The informant was named Bob Vanderslice from Dallas. The informant stated that on the morning of the assassination, Ruby contacted him and asked if he would like to, quote, watch the fireworks. An FBI record from April 6, 1977 says that record was first highlighted by University of Virginia political analyst Larry Sabato, according to CBS.
And they wonder why there's conspiracy theories.
So hang on a second. So this informant didn't tell the FBI this 14 years earlier?
Yep.
They did not?
He was busy.
They did.
No, he told him then, but it didn't get back until...
This is my point. So Jack Ruby supposedly told this FBI informant...
And he didn't put it on the record until April 6, 1977.
Right.
He said he was with Jack Ruby standing at the corner of the Postal Annex building facing the Texas School Book Depository building.
Why didn't he bring
at
that
the time of the
information out
shooting.
14... Why didn't he bring that information
so he was
out?
at the foot of the depository saying you're going to watch the fireworks?
He was with
Are you
Jack,
shitting me?
He was with Jack Ruby and standing at the corner of the Postal Annex building facing the Texas School Book Depository building at the time of the shooting.
Hang on a second. Does anybody else not have a problem with the time frame?
Yeah. Yeah, I have an issue with the after the fact.
Yeah.
I'm still talking about before. He didn't just say in a bar like 3 towns away, hey, you're going to watch the fireworks later. It could very well have been like, oh, yeah, just the president driving through. Okay.
Immediately after the
shooting.
shooting.
No, it's at the foot of the fucking depository.
Yes. Hang on a second. But he tells the FBI this 14 years later.
Right. So
why didn't he tell the FBI this during the course of the investigation? Why did he wait 14 years to bring this information out?
Good question.
This is why I'm really fucking skeptical on this information. It's that important, and you don't tell any, and you're already an FBI informant?
In 1977, Vanderslice told the FBI that Ruby didn't say anything to him immediately following the assassination. It says immediately after the shooting, Ruby left and headed towards the area of the Dallas Morning News building.
So was this guy an informant on the day of the assassination, or was he not an informant until 14 years later? Because if
that's
he was
unspecified.
If he was so if he was an informant 14 years ago at the time of the murder,
let me go back up here,
and he didn't tell anybody for 14 years, then I'm calling bullshit. But if
he was cultivated 14 years later and said, oh, by the way.
Correct. Then that, I think, leads a little bit more credence to that statement. Agreed?
I agree. Look, here's the other thing, too. Is
he was an FBI informant at the time that Ruby made the statement to him.
And then he waited 14 years to say it?
Until 1977.
Yeah, then fuck that. I'm calling bullshit.
But you know what, though? Who died or what was
Kennedy did.
Wait, no, I know that.
Oh.
But you got to look in the mob underworld and see who died in those 14 years that he no longer feared, right? You're talking about the mob that used to bring people's families into meetings.
Oh, they had massive power.
Right. The extent that they would go through, that RFK and through the 60s and 70s, they really did a beating on the mob. So it does add credence to the question of who died that he was no longer afraid to speak. Because he's
already an informant. If he's already an informant...
So wasn't Whitey Bulger. That doesn't mean the FBI can control shit.
No. I'm not saying they can control it, but if he's already an informant,
right.
Why not get... I mean, you're already got a death sentence
but you
put
also
on you,
know
right?
You also know, to a point, you're an informant, but it depends on what you're informing on.
It doesn't matter. If you're an informant, you're a rat, you're going to get smoked.
If you get caught.
Right.
Right.
So...
But because here's the difference, right? If you're running booze and you're talking, just say drugs. You're running drugs, right? And you're the mob. And this FBI informant snitching on you, and your guys are getting arrested here and there with some coke, this other shit, blah, 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 blah. Okay, it's not taking down the whole enterprise. It's taking down a couple of deliveries here and there. If you come out and say the mob was responsible for the death of a president, hypothetically speaking, it changes, and now all of a sudden you're not going to be a confidential informant anymore.
Look, I get it to a point, but I think
you're wrong.
I think the timing of it is suspicious. I'm not saying it didn't happen. I'm saying the timing of it is very suspicious to me.
I absolutely agree that it's suspicious, but I mean, look at. We also found out that Hitler may have been alive 20 years later in Argentina. So,
yeah, but that was reported right away by an SS guy to an informant.
The feds did nothing with it.
So
well,
we don't know.
But no, I mean that's essentially what was said in that document.
No, the document said, "Hey,"
they were like, this isn't really."
No, they said it was a credible source.
Right.
And who knows what that document was released? We don't know what they did with it after that.
But it's also dependent on the FBI agent that cultivated that informant, right? Because he may have told another FBI agent 14 years later. Because we don't have all the details, right?
That's my point.
Right.
We don't have all the details, so I'm not ready to jump and be like, "Holy shit, look at this!"
It's just, but it's another
It's another piece of information.
Yep.
And it hasn't been vetted, and there's a lot of questions surrounding it for sure.
In a way, you could almost compare this loosely to the Las Vegas shooting. Every new piece that you get
is more confusing.
Doesn't really add to the answer. It supplies more questions.
Correct. Yes. I'd agree with that.
There we go.
And that's what
we're up against a break.
Yep, we are.
Son of a bitch already?
Yep.
When we come back, and we will be coming back, ladies and gentlemen, that's a fact, Jack.
I have a very special segment.
Yeah, Clint has a very special segment he wants to do right here on the Sackheads Radio Show. Stick around. You don't want to miss it right here on the SHR Media Network.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Hey, it's Sean from the Sackheads Radio Show. Also one of the owners here at the SHR Media Network. Are you opinionated? Have you ever wanted to do your own show? Have you ever heard somebody like the Sackheads and go, yeah, I could probably do that better? Well, now's your chance. Send me a 5-minute clip at sackheadsradio@gmail.com, and maybe you can be part of the SHR broadcasting team. sackheadsradio@gmail.com.
Beware, the Jersey Takeover is here. Every Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. till 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you can catch River Common Sense Show hosted by Jersey Joe, right here on shrmedia.com. Only Jersey can deliver hell like no one else. So consider this your fair warning.
Human by race, Christian by faith, American by nationality, and conservative by choice. Reverend Ralph J. Chittum Sr. is the right guy on SHR Media from 8:05 to 9 p.m. Monday through Friday. And if on the rare occasion I am ever wrong, I will still always be right. The right guy on SHR Media.
Power brokers use corrupt politicians, deceptive Islam, and lies from establishment media to turn the once shining city on a hill into the city of the blind. What do the elites fear? One man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me at SHR Media, High Plains Talk Radio, Spreaker, iTunes, and YouTube for a different kind of commentary on the unpleasant blind guy. Because truth is not always pleasant.
Hello, I'm Tim Hart. I'm the guy BZ hires due to his shameless contract with the SHR Media Network to voice his promos. He'd like me to tell you that the Bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show can be found on SHR Media Network, Spreaker, and YouTube every Tuesday and Thursday night at 11 p.m. Eastern and 8 p.m. Pacific, featuring right thinking from a left brain and doing the job the American media maggots won't. You'll find that the speech is free, but the drinks are not. There, in the saloon, just when safety pin manufacturers are running out of metal for the diapers of the leftists, BZ is sending his personal drones of freedom into the wheelhouses and ossicles of lovers of sovereignty and liberty nationally and globally. Broadcasting behind enemy lines in occupied California, BZ swears that no rights were harmed in the making of this promo.
This is Jersey Joe, host of the Reverb Common Sense, and you're listening to SHRmedia.com.
Welcome back to the Sackheads Radio Show live on the SHR Media Network. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. It is Thanksgiving Eve, the last 30 minutes of the show, and I'm going to turn it over to Sackhead Clint for a very special segment.
Look, this is Thanksgiving Eve, and as such, I want to bring the attention of a proclamation made by the President of the United States, and I want to bring it to the attention of the ACLU. What? No, look, this is very
sound good.
I think it's awesome, but it's a very serious matter that some people in the ACLU will probably take umbrage left, as well as the Freedom From Religion Foundation. They may also initiate a lawsuit retroactively. I don't know. But because tomorrow's Thanksgiving, those of you that have been with us for several years from the beginning, we love you guys. We thank you very much for being with us. And everybody kind of knows we have some traditions here on the Sackheads Radio Show.
This will be my first Thanksgiving.
This will be your first Thanksgiving tradition. So let me do something. And this is something that I actually do with my kids on Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm.
And we started sharing it. How many years ago now, Sean?
4.
That we share with our family who joins us. And we also do something on Christmas as well. We kind of have our own tradition, and we tell kind of a certain story on that day, or at least our last show before
that holiday.
Before that holiday.
Too bad you don't have background music for this right now.
Yeah, we need some, right? We need some.
Give me a minute.
Like a crackling fire.
Ooh. That's not music, but yeah, I like that.
Yeah, right, that'd be nice background.
That would be nice.
You start and give me a minute.
Okay. Wait, am I starting?
Yes, please.
Okay. But I want to read a proclamation from the President of the United States, and this is something we do here at Sackhead, something I've also done in my own home, and this is by the President of the United States of America, a proclamation. Whereas it is the duty of all nations to acknowledge the providence of Almighty God, to obey His will, to be grateful for His benefits, and humbly to implore His protection and favor. And whereas both houses of Congress have by their joint committee requested me, quote, to recommend to the people of the United States a day of public thanksgiving and prayer to be observed by acknowledging with grateful hearts the many signal favors of Almighty God, especially by affording them an opportunity peaceably to establish a form of government for their safety and happiness, end quote. Now, therefore, I do recommend and assign Thursday, the 26th day of November, next, to be devoted by the people of these states to the service of that great and glorious being, who is the beneficent author of all the good that was, that is, or that will be, that we may then all unite in rendering unto Him our sincere and humble thanks for His kind care and protection of the people of this country previous to their becoming a nation, for the signal and manifold mercies and the favorable interpositions of His providence which we experienced in the course and conclusion of the late war, for the great degree of tranquility, union, and plenty which we have since enjoyed, for the peaceable and rational manner in which we have been enabled to establish constitutions of government for our safety and happiness, and particularly the national one now lately instituted for the civil and religious liberty with which we are blessed, and the means we have of acquiring and diffusing useful knowledge, and in general for all the great and various favors which He hath been pleased to confer upon us. And also that we may then unite in most humbly offering our prayers and supplications to the great Lord and ruler of nations, and beseech Him to pardon our national and other transgressions, to enable us all, whether in public or private stations, to perform our several and relative duties properly and punctually, to render our national government a blessing to all the people, by constantly being a government of wise, just, and constitutional laws, discreetly and faithfully executed and obeyed, to protect and guide all sovereigns and nations, especially such as have shown kindness unto us, and to bless them with good government, peace, and concord, to promote the knowledge and practice of true religion and virtue, and the increase of science among them and us, and generally to grant unto all mankind such a degree of temporal prosperity as he alone knows to be best. Given under my hand at the city of New York, the 3rd day of October in the year of our Lord, 1789. George Washington.
Nice.
That was incredible. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate it.
So that's something that George Washington, when he named a national day of Thanksgiving, so the first Thanksgiving under our national government formed by the Constitution.
As a newly established nation.
Formed by the Constitution, so after Articles of Confederation.
Right.
And, you know, we only have 20 minutes left tonight, so we don't have time to really go down and break this down line by line, stanza by stanza, but George Washington basically had a prayer for the United States. And he said a lot of things in here. And it's not just the President of the United States, but both houses of Congress, by joint committee, requested the President of the United States to recommend to the people of the country a day of public thanksgiving and prayer. And the purpose of this original Thanksgiving and prayer, again recommended by both houses of Congress and enshrined in a presidential proclamation, was specifically to thank Almighty God for affording us as a country the opportunity to form this wonderful government, and thanking God for the blessings that He has shown, obviously our country, and also praise for other nations as well. So,
can you imagine the impeachment today?
This is my point. So this is the first president of the United States and the first Congress.
Yes.
Both houses. Mm-hmm. These people kind of knew what the Constitution was about.
They had a
right?
decent idea.
Where is the separation of church and state? If separation of church and state is a true constitutional principle, which we know is bullshit.
Right.
If it is a true constitutional principle, why would this have ever happened? And I bring this up to show the absolute bullshit that the left has espoused and that has allowed to be grown. And now we have court cases that are following this bogus
narrative.
Completely false.
It's fake law. There's fake news. That's fake law.
Yes, that's my point.
Wholeheartedly.
That's my point. And look, could you imagine if a president of the United States went so far? Because there's a line in here I read. I encourage everybody to pull it up. All you have to do is George Washington Thanksgiving Proclamation, and it'll pop right up.
Yeah, it's real.
But no, and so what I read this from, just so that people are going to say, oh, no, that never happened. This is from it's not from a very reputable website. It's from the National Archives that I read this from. And I'll show you on camera if you can kind of read the website I read it from, so you can see up there in the upper corner National Archives, and it's in that section right there, Thanksgiving Proclamation. So I didn't get that from any harsh right-wing news organization. It's from the archives. But there's a sentence in there where he talks about praying and for the health of the true religions. Could you imagine if a president of the United States or Congress or anybody said, well, we only deal in true religion?
Yeah.
Or praying for other nations. And he does something very powerful in here also. George Washington asks for the national, it's basically a national confession. He's asking for forgiveness for any national transgressions that we as a people, we as a nation may have done.
Right.
He's asking for forgiveness, which is a huge biblical principle.
Yeah, it is. It's an enormous biblical. As a Catholic, I can tell you, you
yes.
have to go to confession.
And talking about really even as the leader of this country, setting the example and saying that, hey, we realize that we are imperfect, not only as a people but as a nation, and we ask God for forgiveness, not only as a people but as a nation. Tremendous leadership, first of all. in order to be able to set that kind of example. Look, whether you're a religious person or not,
right.
George Washington was a man of principle. He was a man of faith, as much as people try and say, no, he was a deist. Bullshit. He was a man of faith. And how many people can use the term bullshit when talking about religion?
Right.
That actually have those beliefs, because a lot of people use bullshit in religion.
But so I want to flash forward to just after 9/11.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember the entire Congress standing on the floor of on the stairs of the Capitol singing "God Bless America"?
Yes.
And it's amazing to me, and we've talked about this before, and you're right. There's no way any president, doesn't matter which side of the aisle they were on at this point, could come out and have this and give a statement like this or a proclamation like this and have it be deemed acceptable by today's standards.
Yeah, or could you imagine even because look, people had opposing points of view in Congress back then also, right? But here you had the House and the Senate, representatives from both coming together saying, hey, Mr. President, we want to do this, and the President of the United States saying,
okay,
oh, yeah, absolutely, let's do this.
That's a good idea. But you also had a House and a Senate that just came out of the revolution and understood, like you said earlier, what our principles were and what they were about, and then you had a president who understood damn well it wasn't about personal agenda.
Yeah.
It was about national pride.
Yes.
It was about national responsibility. And it was about us as a whole being a united nation and giving thanks.
Yes. Why is this not taught in schools?
It doesn't meet the narrative of the left. We talked about this earlier.
I know why it's not taught in schools,
right.
But I'm bringing that out for our listeners to ponder. And I know we have listeners that ponder. I'm hoping there's some folks on the left out there that are maybe tuning in for the first time. Maybe you listen to us on a regular basis and you absolutely hate us. Maybe you don't hate us personally. You hate what we have to say a lot of times. But I would encourage you, and I know that some of you with left-leaning views or some atheists or whatnot may be like just screaming at me right now. But all I'm asking, I'm not asking you to believe in any religion. I'm not asking anybody to convert to Christianity or anything like that.
You have freedom in this country. You don't have to.
All I'm asking is for you to open your mind and really kind of absorb where this request came from to issue this proclamation and really what the proclamation is saying, and rectify that with your personal belief of separation of church and state. Mm-hmm. And if that truly is a principle, that is real. And I understand it's real in your mind, but I submit this to you. If separation of church and state is a real constitutional principle, then how is it this was ever allowed to happen from the first president of the United States and a Congress of the United States right after the formation of this country under the current Constitution? These folks knew damn well what that Constitution said and what it was about and how limiting it was.
And what they meant when they wrote it.
So
months earlier.
So please rectify this in your mind for me. Mm-hmm. And I believe that you have this heartfelt belief that there is this constitutional separation. But if that's really the case, how did this ever happen by these men? It never would have.
I go back to when I speak to the underground professor, Dr. Michael Jones, every once in a while, about every 2 weeks or so. And what you bring up, Clint, is basically the elimination of history. And the reference that I'll use here is we were talking about the U.S. Constitution and how con law is taught now. And what he said is con law is taught simply in stare decisis, which means just about the decisions, nothing about the history, the founding fathers, the intention, the meaning of the Constitution, the actual drafting of the documents, or even the Magna Carta. Nothing about that is brought up in terms of history. It's just case law, case law, case law, precedent. That's the way con law is taught now, and that's wrong. That's just wrong. But it's also the stripping of history from the instruction and it's the stripping of what actually occurred, just as you say, about the founding of this entire nation, and that's the job of leftists. I wish I could say that I were as hopeful as you are. You seem to ascribe some hope to this. I cannot say that I believe that.
You know why I ascribe hope to this? Because there are people like us who are not afraid to put that out there. I teach my kids about this. I engage them in these discussions. I'm hoping that in a lot of states this is something that's studied. Look, I just had a conversation with my daughter who's doing a project on the fall of the Roman Empire, the collapse of the Roman Empire, and we had a very serious discussion about why studying the Roman Empire is crucial.
That's Freudian.
To the Roman Empire, exactly. Why it's crucial to understanding what's happening to the United States right now. And I pointed her to Gibbons' I think it's 6-volume set, The Decline and Fall of the Roman Empire. Mm-hmm. And that is a work. I actually have that work, all 6 volumes downloaded. You can get it for free because it's so freaking old. I actually have all 6, and I've read them all. And it was a work that was studied by our founding fathers. I think it was like from 1749 or something like that. An exhaustive study about the decline and fall of the Roman Empire, and our founders were intimately familiar with that work, and it was an influence on why they set the Constitution up the way they did, because they wanted to guard against the things that the Roman Empire failed to guard against. Rome was the Great Republic.
Yes.
It was the original Great Republic. And there were some things that happened that caused it to decline, and our country is experiencing it now in spite of the lessons our founders learned, and in spite of the safeguards that they put in place
and history
through the Constitution.
Yes, you allow it to.
Exactly.
And it's funny because I want to play something if you don't mind. It's a couple
Sure.
minutes long, but it kind of ties into this a little bit. It's from, I think it's ABC back in the 70s. It's Red Skelton's Pledge of Allegiance. Have you heard this before?
No.
Okay, so but
I don't know.
All right, the very end of it, and it's about 4 minutes if you'll indulge me. The very end of it plays shows you where the mindset was even 40 years ago, and here it is.
Teacher that I had. Now I went through the 7th grade. I went to the 7th grade. And I left home when I was 10 years old because I was hungry. And I used to. This is true. I work in the summer and I go to school in the winter. But I had this one teacher. He was the principal of the Harrison School in Vincennes, Indiana. To me, this was the greatest teacher, a real sage of my time. Anyhow, he had such wisdom. And we were all reciting the Pledge of Allegiance one day. And he walked over, this little old teacher. Mr. Laswell was his name. Mr. Laswell. And he says, he says, I've been listening to you boys and girls recite the Pledge of Allegiance all semester. And it seems as though it's becoming monotonous to you. If I may I recite it and try to explain to you the meaning of each word. I, me, an individual, a committee of one, pledge, dedicate all of my worldly goods to give without self-pity, allegiance, my love and my devotion, to the flag, our standard, Old Glory, a symbol of freedom. Wherever she waves, there's respect, because your loyalty has given her a dignity that shouts freedom is everybody's job. United. That means that we have all come together. States, individual communities that have united into 48 great states. 48 individual communities with pride and dignity and purpose. All divided with imaginary boundaries, yet united to a common purpose. And that's love for country. And to the Republic, a state in which sovereign power is invested in representatives chosen by the people to govern. And government is the people. And it's from the people to the leaders, not from the leaders to the people, for which it stands. One nation, meaning so blessed by God, indivisible, incapable of being divided, with liberty, which is freedom, the right of power to live one's own life without threats, fear, or some sort of retaliation. And justice, the principle or qualities of dealing fairly with others. For all, which means, boys and girls, it's as much your country as it is mine. And now, boys and girls, let me hear you recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Since I was a small boy, 2 states have been added to our country, and 2 words have been added to the Pledge of Allegiance: under God. Wouldn't it be a pity if someone said that is a prayer and that would be eliminated from schools too?
So this is almost 200 years later. And the importance of it is there, but the argument was also there too, right?
Mm-hmm.
When we're talking 200 years after the country was founded, with the fact that under God was being even challenged then in schools. And now it's only become exacerbated and worse. And it's just sad to me to think that we have to keep having this argument, and that people think that freedom of religion is freedom from religion.
Right.
And not the other way around. And obviously freedom of religion is that the government can't enforce one specific religion upon an individual.
Congress cannot form a national religion.
Right. And we can't have a national religion.
Right.
But it's often confused. And I think when you have a proclamation like that gets read just after the founding of the nation by one of the founders and agreed upon by all of the other founders,
yes,
it's pretty compelling evidence as to what the founders wanted.
I'll do you one better. And do you remember we went through a whole thing on this? You go find the organic documents of the United States.
Yes.
Do you remember
Northwest Ordinance?
Do you remember the crap we had to go through?
Yes.
On the National Archives website
yep.
to where these pages were not even numbered. So if you did a page number search, you wouldn't be able to find it. You had to literally tab through each individual page until you came to the organic documents of the United States. It was part of a congressional record. Oh yeah, look at BZ's face. You weren't here for that.
Yeah, that was before.
Before my time.
So with that Thanksgiving Day proclamation, I would highly encourage you to read the Northwest Ordinance.
Yeah. And go back through all the
hear what the organic documents are, because you may not be able to find it, and we'll have to see if we can find it again. But you won't be able to find it. The organic documents of the United States are the article, the obviously the Declaration of Independence, the Articles of Confederation,
mm-hmm.
the Constitution of the United States,
mm-hmm.
and the Northwest Ordinance.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the 4 organic documents of our nation. And in order to understand the principles of which our nation are founded upon, you have to have an understanding or a knowledge of all of those documents. And the reason the Northwest Ordinance is so important, and there's a particular part in the Northwest Ordinance that's really important, and it's germane to the conversation we're having now. What is it? Germans got nothing to do with this.
Goddamn Germans got nothing to do with this.
But is this reason. In the Northwest Ordinance, which was passed by Congress, it's law, signed by the president. It says that understanding something to the effect of, I'm not quoting because I don't have it right here in front of me, but religion and morality, morality and education being basically of utmost importance for us to be able to continue our republic, education and religion will forever be encouraged. And that's from Congress. They understood the importance of a moral and a virtuous society, a moral and a virtuous people, and an educated people about our history and where we came from and those principles, and the integral part that religion plays in the formation of that society, because otherwise, where do ethics come from? Where do morals come from? Where do virtues come from? That they said that those two are hand in hand and shall be encouraged by Congress. Not a specific religion, but religion and education together. So first of all, there's your argument for funding education on the federal, which is not my favorite thing to do, but there's your argument for it. But also the importance of religion in the schools. So that's all I had to say on that. I know we're time to shut down.
We're
Sean.
over time. Let's go around the horn really quick. We'll start with BZ. We're going to go counterclockwise.
I'd like to end with this. The 8 phases of the rise and fall of a civilization. The first one is from bondage to spiritual growth. The second one is from spiritual growth to great courage. The third is from courage to liberty. The fourth is from liberty to abundance. The fifth is from abundance to complacency. The sixth is from complacency to apathy. The seventh is from apathy to dependence. The eighth is from dependence back to bondage. Where are we now?
Back to bondage.
No, we're on dependence. We're dependents on our way back to bondage.
There's Rome.
Yep.
Exactly.
And there's the linkage.
Exactly.
How sad is that?
And people ignore it every single day in this country. And I hope that changes for our future. And it's up to really everybody who listens to this network, to the show, and even if you don't, to really push the ideals of the founders and understand what this country was supposed to be, not this false narrative that gets thrown out from the left on what they say it should be.
One thing that I'd like to say before we go, I'd like to give thanks to you guys for giving me a voice.
Well, and that's exactly where I was going to go, is going around the horn. BZ, one thing you were thankful for? And,
that's it.
That's it as well. Sackhead Clint.
Oh, man. I'm thankful for so much. But I mean, the obviously one is family, wife, kids. But I'm really thankful for our founders who set the groundwork for such a tremendous nation, a nation that and the principles that really talk about and led to the abolition of slavery, because it was the principles laid by them that led to that. The freedoms and liberty that we enjoy today, that my kids enjoy, that my family enjoys, that I'm so thankful for that, because really without that, I wouldn't have everything else.
This is very true. And coming back to me, I'm thankful for obviously my children, my family. I'm thankful to be in a room with you guys every single week and doing this, and to live in the greatest nation on the planet that gives me that freedom and right to do so. I'm thankful for the ability that the founders gave us, that I can speak out against government, right, wrong, or indifferent. I can speak out against those in powers. And in theory, nothing will happen negatively towards me from government. We'll see when I do my taxes this year. However,
yeah,
just to be here is truly a blessing, and I thank you all. And obviously everyone who's close to me, I'm very thankful for as well. Folks, that's it for the Sackheads Radio Show. Thanksgiving Eve special. Happy Thanksgiving to you and yours.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Make sure you remember tomorrow is not necessarily always about football and food. Give thanks for
it's never about football this year. Sorry.
Well, this year's not. Well, isn't there college tomorrow?
Maybe.
Yeah, there might be some college.
I heard the New England was going to be changing their team name to the New England Redcoats because they're more thankful for the British than. What NFL team was it that stood for the English national anthem but not the U.S. one?
That wasn't.
No, you're talking about Marshawn Lynch in Mexico.
Yeah, no, I am. I was making a smart ass.
Yeah, no, he was trying to be funny, but there was no comedy to be had there.
No, not for you.
No, I mean, he was
Maybe
stretching.
a
He was
round
stretching.
man,
Yeah, well, let's talk about owners and teams that support and who they support and what their political agenda is. That's fine, though. That's fine.
I'm not a fan at all anymore. Maybe Cowboys.
God
folks,
bless America.
Happy Thanksgiving. We're truly thankful for you, the listeners, who allow us to come into your homes every single week.
Not in a creepy way.
Not in a creepy way. And I'm going to leave it at that. Thank you. Have a good evening.
conservative talk show in America, Sackheads Radio. And listen, there are no people better on the air to give you the best in conservative talk than Sackhead Sean and Sackhead Clint. And we're working on immigration papers for a certain other guy who happens to work here too. For those who are tuning in around the world to the best in late night conservative talk, Sackheads Radio.
Talk News. Talk News.
Radio.
Talk News. Talk News.
Radio.
The best late night conservative talk show in America. In America.
In America.
Into the silo.
And in this web was a large, I'm pretty sure it was the biggest spider I've ever seen.